Okay, meeting called to order at 5:37. Everybody have a chance to read the minutes from the previous meeting?
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes as written.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, do we have any bills?
Yes.
Not we initially invoiced
Yes,
too?
please.
Okay, any correspondence?
This is all we have. And this is from the planning today about B&D going back before planning board. That's just a summary of.
Oh, okay, this is just a heads up for us, okay.
Yes.
All right, we've received communication from Lynch, Desmond, and Nyland LLP, attorney at law, notice of intent on One Lakeshore Center proposed Marriott Residence Inn off of 106. That's the Claremont properties over here.
In Bridgewater, 104.
104, yeah.
Yep, right across from the NIP. They're planning, there's a notice of intent, they're going to put in a residence, Marriott Resident Inn in there.
So we have a little bit of land there, right? Is that why they're,
We're in a
I think so, we're
butter.
in a butter.
We're in a butter, so it's essentially a.
so they're not, because we do cross over there, remember we've had,
Yes. Near the
I
highway.
was just wondering how that, where that just went. Okay. But that's as in a butter they're notifying us.
Correct.
All right.
And it's their summary of what they're going to be doing.
Okay. And then we were contacted as well by the Lake Nippatucket Action Focus Team, wanting to revisit the proposal for that piece of property. Evidently, MIPA gave them a go-ahead back, and looks like 1990, I guess? No, 2013. They issued them a certificate, so they wanted to be revisited. So it's just a, right, and I believe that was in reference to this property as well. There's natural wildlife, et cetera, that they're concerned about, although we're a butter, so there's not much that we can do, except follow along with whatever the Bridgewater Commission does. Okay. What's this? Well, this is coming before us tonight anyway.
Yes, but that's from the planning board.
Right.
Just that they're not notifying us that B&D is going back to planning.
Okay, and we have a notice from the planning board concerning 2252 Britton Street, B&D Construction, revised site plan for a warehouse building. They're holding a public hearing on Thursday, February 5th. So tomorrow, they'll be holding a hearing, the planning board on this particular property. And we'll review that tonight as well. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. informal issuance of a request for extension, order of resource area delineation, DEP file number 2690881, Pine Street, SMND Realty and Trust, Locust Street Realty.
This
So,
was the
we
one we
reviewed-
had last week?
Reviewed that last week, and
Yes.
we approved that one. And the extension was for a year. Is that
Yes.
right?
Oh, no, okay. Right, because this is the one that, the
Pine
normal
Street?
extension is 3 years, but they only wanted 1
They
year.
only wanted
Right,
one,
yeah,
yes.
That's as requested, right.
I can review.
Can we continue to the next one, or do we have to
We can-
wait for ours?
I think, there's nobody here from Walmart, so, I mean, I can make a report on that one if you want, and just, we can continue that until the next time.
All right, why don't, with the lack of feedback from the consultant, why don't we continue that one as well?
Do you hear about the Eagle Scout? You want to cover that under informal?
Yeah, we can, I can talk a little bit about it. I haven't heard from him, though. Continued certificate of compliance, DEP file number SE 2690725, Walmart 160 Broadway, map 7, parcel 13, Boulder Engineering. That'll be continued to next month, next meeting,
Yes.
which is the 18th.
Yes. We're still waiting on information back from Bowler regarding the certificate of compliance. Some of the stuff that, some things they have to continue and modification that was not done, that's what we're looking at right now.
You need to take a official vote
Yeah,
on that?
I need
Okay,
a-
make a motion that we continue.
Second.
Southeast 269-075, Walmart 160 Broadway. Map 7, parcel 13, Boulder Engineering.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay. Why don't we do the King Street one?
Sure.
then?
Just, oops.
Well, new message.
No, we're not going anywhere.
I am off 24, and now just sitting like a duck. He's on North Main, so he's at least 15 out, okay. We have to open this formal.
Formally, yes.
All right, why don't you read, Paul?
For the
top.
determination.
No, just the top, all hearings.
Because this one is
Yeah.
these are brand new.
This is new, yeah.
Okay. All public hearings and meetings heard by the Raynham Conservation Commission on Wednesday, February 4th, 2015, at 5:30 PM in the Raynham Veterans Memorial Town Hall, Donald L. McKinney Meeting Room, 558 South Main Street, Raynham, Mass., are relative to the filings in joint hearings and/or meetings under Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, as amended, and the Town of Raynham Wetland Protection Bylaw.
Yep, and the green cards and the advertisement. They're 11 out of 14.
And that's fine. We know that this is still
And yours are-
outstanding.
They were all mailed out.
Very good. Date. Just check the date in the top.
Check the date.
That should be okay. I just forgot to look at it.
Wednesday, January 28th.
Today's the 4th. Yep, that's good.
So we're good? Okay.
That's good.
Go ahead, Paul.
I think it's the highlighted one.
In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Town of Raynham local bylaw, the Raynham Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, February 4th, 2015, at 5:30 PM in the Donald L. McKinney Meeting Room in the Raynham Veterans Memorial Town Hall, 558 South Main Street, Raynham, Mass., on a request for determination of applicability filed by Daniel Stewart and Cheryl Hooper, 380 King Street, Raynham, 02767. The applicant requests a determination for the construction of an above-ground pool bordering the vegetated wetlands and whether it is subject to the jurisdiction of the Wetlands Protection Act in Town of Raynham Wetland Bylaw. The property is owned by Daniel Stewart and Cheryl Hooper and located at 380 King Street, Raynham, Mass., map number reference lot 323, Plan Book 73, pages 50 to 51, August 1959, parcel number 12-5-0.
Thank you, Paul. Mr. Stewart?
Identify yourself.
Good evening. My name is Daniel Joseph Stewart. I reside at 380 King Street in Raynham, Mass.
Okay, can you give us a brief synopsis of what you're trying to do, sir?
My wife and I are currently in the process of trying to install an above-ground pool located on our property at 380 King Street. Seeing that the property does abut the vegetated wetlands
Yep.
of the brook, we had to file notice with the commission for the approval to install that pool. Also, we're looking to, while installing that pool, there is a pine tree that does abut that wetland as well.
Mhm.
It's actually 15 feet from our house. It's about 110 feet tall,
Okay.
and we're, requesting that be removed as well in the process of doing this for the safety of, the pool, the house, and we are, going to remove the stump, so it would, kind of
Is-
affect that.
Is the stump in the wetlands or in the?
It is not in the wetland. That abuts, it is just outside the tagged marker
Okay.
that we had, we've had, it's been
So
it's
the
been filed.
delineation, okay.
Unfortunately, that flag had to be re-put back up. Unfortunately,
Okay.
there is a sewer line that does run through
Okay.
the outer bank of the swamp. So it starts on my property, runs adjacent to the abutting parcel, which is owned by a trust out of Taunton, and continues behind my house to the rear of 369 King Street, where it starts.
Okay.
So,
How big is this above-ground pool?
18 feet.
And what are you proposing to put around that?
We're going to, at this point, it's just going to be the pool. There'll be, we have a fenced-in yard currently. We are, since the property was marked in 1959, and our house was built 10 years later in 1969, there were no property markers, which is why you have the plan in front of you that you have. We had our
Okay.
property resurveyed.
Okay,
The fence that is currently standing is not correct on my property. So as my property is marked, if you were to go to the residence now and look at it and say, okay, this is your property markers, you would determine by the fence line. It is not. My fence line actually goes about, if you were there, you go about 4 feet over from the fence line. If my property starts, my property actually goes, the natural boundary for my property is actually the creek at the start of it, and then it deviates to the right
okay.
from the creek. So as, if you were to,
So there's-
look
so-
where 369 is, her property theoretically, when they put the fence in, they put it on the opposite side of another pine tree that was there.
Mhm.
Apparently, they didn't want that pine tree, so they decided to put the fence farther onto their property line for the previous owner
put-
to basically take control of that tree. It has been removed by the previous owner when we bought the house, as well as one in the front yard.
Yep,
The only one remaining is that one that we are, looking to, have removed as well, as, indicated on the plan.
so in terms of the wetlands flags, they call WF3s, where is the tree in relation to that? Is it wetland 3?
If you look at flag number 2,
Yep,
you'll see, it'll say 16-foot white
Okay,
pine to be
yep.
removed.
okay,
It sits, it is out of the wetlands.
yep,
Our property is graded downward to the slope to
Yep.
basically, run
Third-
water off.
yeah,
That's
32
how they
to
built the house.
27, okay.
Again, that's the only remaining pine tree on our property. Everything else is, either an oak, a hickory, which are all fine. When when my bedroom was upstairs, we could hear that pine tree cracking. We have since removed anybody from that room, and it's now strictly a playroom for my children,
Okay.
because we don't feel safe having anybody in there during a storm or anything else, so.
Well, if it's not within the,
It's not within the wetland. We put it in the plan only for the fact that, to denote that, as part of our plan, that tree is, subject, to be removed, so.
yeah, that's fine, we don't,
Yep.
you can take that tree.
Yep.
So if you're going to remove the fence, where?
The fence is actually going to go it's actually going to go right along our property line.
Okay.
It does not basically,
So it's not going to take that jump.
It borders right along the flags, as denoted, that it's going to go right along the flag line. It's not going to go into the wetlands. So, I mean, the closest it comes is flag number 4, which is behind my shed.
Yep.
So that's the closest the fence comes to the wetland. So that will be the new fence. The existing fence is, again, is wrong. So.
Okay. So it's not within the 25-foot either, if that's the wetland flag. And this was done, when was this wetland flags, when was it flagged? Do you know?
I would have to look at my check. It was flagged this year. Actually, it was actually flagged in, I want to say, early November.
Oh,
When we
okay.
started this process, I believe.
How
or
long have you
in
owned the property?
It would be 3 years in August.
So I think that's before our bylaw anyways, before we initiated in the bylaw the 25-foot no touch.
Well, right.
So we moved in 2012. So
Okay. Anybody else have any questions for the gentleman?
So you're going to relocate, take that shed out of there altogether?
the shed is going to actually be moved.
Okay.
Since it's deteriorated anyway. It's deteriorated over the years, even when we moved in, so it's going to actually end up being moved. It's fallen off its own foundation. So eventually it needs to be taken down and reconstructed. But at this present time, it's going to stand where it is.
Okay.
I do have a question about, because I have a pool myself.
Yes.
And when we drain the water out through the filter and stuff, where's that water going to go?
Currently, at this point, we would either drain it into we can't drain it into the wetland.
That's my point, chlorinated water, that's my point that I'm trying to get at.
It would have to
You
be.
really don't have a lot of play between the pool and the wetland,
No,
And then you got a
we
brook
don't.
on one side, which the brook, you're less than 100 feet, you're probably about 65 feet from the brook. And I can't see what direction the brook goes in, if it continues going straight, which would probably make you 100 feet behind the shed, a little bit over 100 feet, or if it curves back in. I can't tell from this plan.
Yeah, the brook itself comes out, I'm assuming it starts in Johnson's Pond somehow. There's only a small amount of water normally in that brook that flows.
Yeah.
I've never followed it myself. But my assumption is somehow or another it's a small tributary out of Johnson's Pond.
Okay.
It would end down farther. Again, knowing what we have to do at this point, it would only be used, it would be drained into our front yard and probably used as sprinkler water almost for our front lawn at this point.
And that's gonna be a good question that I'm gonna revert to our consultant to ask, because I just wanna make sure I'm not skipping something on the statutory obligations
Right.
for the chlorinated water
Yep.
that close to the wetland area. I'll let him get situated.
It would drain right into it.
Because,
Looking at the elevation.
right, as looking at the elevations, if anywhere behind that deck you drain it, yes, it'll absorb mostly into the lawn, but you're still gonna drain down into the wetland. Because then once it gets into the ground, it'll spread itself out.
Yeah.
And then for you to be trucking it up to the front yard, you're gonna be doing over 100 feet of
We could still
lawn.
do a negative determination and still put some conditions on it.
It could always be drained. Less than out of my backyard, it can always be drained into the house and into our into the sewer. It's got to go. We know it's got to go someplace. Even reviewing the plans, to do drainage, I'm like, there's no drainage on my street. So anything that runs down my street runs into that creek.
Yeah.
And it is set to do that by the town.
Right.
That's how the town
Right.
constructed the road. I would love to see that bridge retaken out to run a gas line down my street, but it's a rock slab bridge. That is just not going to happen at this point.
All right, can I ask you one?
I know there's a pool. It must have been a plan approved. I'm not sure how because I was never notified. I know I had to notify them by certified letter 4 houses down from me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and their pool is sitting in the woods, which would still be considered partial wetland.
Right.
So,
Okay.
What's that gonna be? I mean, the only issue really here, because this is above ground, not in ground, so there's not gonna be much of any excavation.
Right.
You just
We're
prepping the
just
ground,
concerned
yeah.
about How he's going to drain it.
Right, I was gonna say, like washing the, backwash, are you gonna have any backwash? Just
Probably will.
filter cartridge?
Whatever the recommendation is, I mean, I know when I originally pulled the paperwork, I believe it was David that was in the office, basically, that would be a determination that would need to be made, I believe, by you guys, as to what, type filter would need to be used, and any of that stuff.
Well, you don't wanna be dumping pool water right into the
No.
wetlands.
Right,
No.
and that's why I wanna revert to your expertise. I have a sand filter myself,
Yes.
and so I know I have to backwash.
Yes.
I don't know about earth filters, if they have to backwash. I don't know if there's a non-backwashing pump.
Do you need more time to look at this?
Yeah, I mean, it's got some area here that he can probably pipe it into.
Towards the right side of the shed.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just didn't know from looking
No,
at
not,
this plan.
not actually over here on this right side of the house.
I just didn't know from looking at this plan how the brook, if it looped back in or if it went straight off to the left. That would increase the distance from the brook also.
Yeah,
I just can't tell from this plan.
yeah, definitely you don't wanna be dumping pool water in the, I used to actually have mine pumped.
So this is just an RDA,
Yeah,
so we can issue a negative.
yeah, and then put a
then-
condition, yeah, you can do that. I don't see any need for a notice of intent on this.
Okay. Do you want to close the hearing and make the motion?
Yeah.
All right.
I'll make a motion that we, oh, is there anybody else in the audience who wants to talk about it?
I don't think so.
I just want to do it. I'll make a motion that we close the hearing for request for determination, 380 King Street, map 12, parcel 5, Daniel Stewart.
Second the motion?
All in favor?
All right?
So,
Issue?
Yeah, well, we'll discuss it at the end of the meeting, if you wanna get all the other things out of the way.
So he's all set?
Yeah.
He's all set, yeah.
All right,
Make
what
the
they'll do is,
decision.
we'll do the determination, and once we get it set, we'll have it signed, probably at the next meeting, and then we'll give you all the information that you need.
You're not building this week, right?
Unless you're gonna start shoveling the site out.
My intent is to have this in hand for
Yeah.
hopefully the end of April.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Yeah, this way I can draft
I'll fill
it
the pool with
for you.
Right. And with some conditions.
Yeah.
And then we'll be all set.
Exactly.
You just have it above snow.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Take care. All right.
Okay, why don't we go to the Britton Street?
Mhm.
Are you ready with that, Arzu?
yeah.
Okay. Continued notice of intent, DEP file SE 2690911, 252 Britton Street, map 4, partial 11 and 12, Daniel DeRosa. At these plans? Is that this plan?
Yeah, that, both of them. Those two are the new ones that came in.
You State your name again, sir, please.
For the record, my name's Ken Motta. I'm a senior project manager with Field Engineering. Between the last time we met and this time, we did get some good input from the commission with respect to the site layout and other elements of the design. One of the things that I'm going to point out that's on the revised plans is we took a look at the parking area. And if you recall, we had some slope grading that was going into the 25-foot buffer. We've looked at the turning movements within the parking area and determined that we can move that, we moved that pavement edge over so that the pavement is outside of the buffer, and we're able to, we're gonna do a ready block wall along that side.
Okay,
As opposed, yeah.
Yep.
Stone. Stone wall, not ready block.
Oh, okay, it's gonna be a stone wall.
Okay.
So it's gonna be, so all activity is gonna be pulled outside of the
Good.
25 foot. The other item that we had talked about was leaving the post and rail fence as a deterrent for, for off-road vehicles along the location as is shown on the plan. And we're gonna do stone posts spaced 25 feet on center along the 25-foot buffer line with the sign placards identifying as a, restricted, 25-foot restricted area, no activity beyond this point. We also received the comments from a zoo just prior to the meeting. So if we want to go through, these items one by one, and I think we should be able to wrap things up.
We each have a copy.
We also received our planning board comments that they tried to address, and we received those revised plan and report, if you will, on Tuesday.
Yeah,
Yesterday.
they're scheduled with the planning board tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
I believe.
Yeah.
So. Well, I think the items, the fence, living it the way it's fine. The post and the sign,
Yep.
we've done that before. The next item, so that takes care of the first two items.
Yeah.
The third one will be the use of fertilizer and some de-icing chemicals. You're in a zone 4, zone 2 area, so you definitely don't want that. That will be something that you can put in an order of conditions, and that should be something that
You're okay with
It's,
that?
yeah, well, that's something that we could talk about, because we do have on the landscaping plan, what he'd like to do is use kind of an organic fertilizer
Okay.
within like some of the planted areas around the building here and around the buffer zone areas here. Also, this field area, and I'll leave that at the discretion of the commission, but I mean, this field area, we'd like to keep that kind of, we're not going in there, we're not disturbing it or anything, but if there's a droughty year or something where we'd like to keep those plants, keep the plants healthy, one of the options would be to use the organic fertilizer within this area here. I defer to the commission on that.
yeah, definitely, nothing, like your cow manure and so any, fertilizer that will not be detrimental to the, water resource.
Well, I mean, what we'd suggest is a condition in the order of conditions that, the owner provide data sheets, on the organic fertilizer, prior to.
Better yet, we can list the ones that we accept.
Yeah.
Other than list the ones that we would accept, just
Yeah,
like what we did.
we can do that.
Like what we
Yeah.
did with Walmart.
Right.
Right.
As well as the de-icing chemicals that are used on the driveway.
Yeah, it would be a non-sodium
No,
based
yeah.
de-icing. There's a spray that,
Right. We'll give
there's
you a list of
kind of
that,
a spray
too.
applied that they
We can
use.
give you a
That's
list of what we
environmentally, again, we would suggest as a condition that the data sheets be submitted to the
Okay.
commission prior to application. On item number 4, we did look at this and we did submit that as part of addendum number 1, which should be in your packages.
I didn't see any change in your pre-existing condition plan, or your
Yeah,
watershed
but
plan.
is that addendum number 1 that you have there of the stormwater management calculations?
That's the original.
It should say it right on the
Should be-
title.
I said two of them. Yeah, addendum number 1. Yeah, you only put post, you didn't put your pre. You put the post-construction watershed, not the pre. So that's,
Okay, we'll get you. But we did look at that because that was one of the comments from Niche Engineering.
yeah, because if you look,
That we had to address.
yeah, if you look at the selection that you have in your original report, does not really make any sense, because you have that whole
Well, we looked at
area.
it, we looked at a number of different flow paths, and again, the hydraulically, the most distant flow path
Right.
is typically the one that's wooded cover for that first 50 feet of the time of concentration flow path. As
No, 'cause
opposed
I did a
to
little
not necessarily
calculation.
the hydraulic, you know, the
No, it's
horizontally.
not, that's
yeah,
why,
yeah.
that's why it said in the comment hydraulically. of,
Yeah.
so-
Yeah, we did look at that, and we did make that change as part of the
Okay,
comments,
yeah, because it's
dimension.
a longer, well, because the effect of that in your calculations is that it exaggerates, the way you did it before, it exaggerates the pre-development runoff, which means that the amount of control that you have to provide is little. It's smaller than you really should provide.
Yeah, that has been addressed, so we can get you the plan.
All right, and then,
It's the same thing on the next item, Azul.
okay,
Because we were asked by Niche Engineering to model, to model it through the structures and
Right.
interconnecting piping, in order to size the interconnection piping. So that is also included in the back of addendum number 1.
yeah, but if you look in the back of the, then you show the calculations for your water quality, your water volume, but when you do your routing, if you look at your routing
Also,
bank,
you know, the routing's in there too.
well, we can review right here at the meeting, because we only got it, what, Tuesday? So, so you're telling me that in the addendum, it is still showing
It's on the end of the addendum.
yeah, no, yeah, if you look at your, this is still the same routing diagram,
Yeah,
right? So it's saying that you're going from the subcatchment straight to the recharge.
Right, looking. It's this last section here. It's right here. Starts here. Yeah, it's this whole asset. And we don't need to go through them.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, we're not gonna be able to act on this tonight anyway, because we gotta look at this and verify. And I did speak with
Steve?
Stephen Trescott,
Steve, yeah.
and he said he hasn't received it, because I guess you sent it to the planning board and then.
Oh,
planning
he's
board-
received it. I sent
Okay.
it, and I can document that he's received it.
Okay.
Over the wire and hard copy.
So we need to take a look at this.
Okay.
And then you still have some warning messages that tells you how your recharge, number 3
Mm-hmm.
overtops, exceeds the storage.
Yeah, that's a warning, yeah, when it gets, when the model gets above the crown of the pipe, okay, it will
Right.
give you a warning message.
Right,
But, I mean, if you look at the hydraulic profile of this system, I mean, what you have is you have three, it's like filling 3 buckets. You have 3 buckets at 3 different elevations. The difference between the first 2 buckets is 8 feet. And then the next 2, and then the difference between the lower 2 buckets are 4 feet. There's also a relief on this system, the overflow pipe that's at the lower elevation. So I don't see any way with the overflow pipe there how this system can back up, can back up above the grades. I mean, it's in the calculations.
Yeah.
I mean, but
we'll take a look at it.
I guess what I'm saying is, after you look at the calculations, I think you'll see it's not going to make a difference in the numbers. And on the water treatment volumes and the recharge volumes, again, I refer to
Yeah.
addendum number 1. That's all been submitted as part of Nich's resubmittal. On site plan sheets 3 and 4 needed to be stamped by a registered land surveyor. We do have an RLS on the existing conditions plan, which is sheet 3. Sheet 4 is a site layout plan. Typically, doesn't require a landscaping.
It does.
I'm sorry, a registered land surveyor.
It does.
He's already certified to the property line in the existing conditions on the existing conditions plan.
No, each sheet, even though you have one of two of three, okay, stamping one sheet does not cover the other sheets. Just like you have your engineer stamping the different sheets, you don't say because your engineer stamped the site layout, therefore this grading and drainage doesn't need to be stamped. Every sheet that is prepared under the respective professionals require the seal and signature of the professional.
Yeah, but the RLS didn't prepare the site layout plan.
Well, then look at your 250 CMR. It says that you are posting the distance between a structure and a boundary line. That is a boundary determination.
Okay.
And requires.
Well, that's all right.
Yeah.
We'll have the survey.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, he stamped the existing conditions plan. He can
Just have him stamp the other
sheet
one.
4. Yeah. that's
He
fine.
needs to own that.
Yeah.
Okay, what's our next step, Nazir?
Well, I mean, they need to request a continuation
Okay,
so that we can verify that
and we can
indeed.
verify the information
Yeah.
and make a determination.
Mr. Chairman, I do have one question.
Yep.
On the, I know we had talked about last week about at the 25-foot no touch post and rail.
Yep.
And you'd mentioned stone markers. I kind of.
It's a 6x6 vertical stone post, just like a stone bound.
Almost like a town lot, like
Right,
a town
right,
line or.
right.
Okay.
It's just gonna be a stone
Okay,
post.
how tall are those?
How tall, you?
2 feet on the ground.
Okay, so it's visible, it's clearly visible, it's not something that somebody's gonna,
2.5 feet.
Okay.
2.5 feet,
It's not a-
6 by
it's not a
6
tank
square.
no, it's not a tank trap. No, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't something that was low to the ground that nobody was gonna see.
Yeah.
So no, I'm fine with that.
Okay. So, can we continue this? What we want to do? Move forward?
I mean, just knowing that we just need to verify the calculations at this point. I mean, is that something that we could do as a condition, or?
Well, the problem with that is if there's any change to be made, then you're not gonna be able to receive that because you've closed the hearing.
Right.
Yeah, well, we're not, I mean, we feel pretty confident, based on the calculations, there's not gonna be any substantive changes in
But
this
sir, if we
drainage
close the
system.
hearing, then we cannot take any more additional information.
And we gotta start all over again.
So,
Build all the tear sheets and,
I suggest that we do continue until the next meeting, which is 18th, which is only 2 weeks out,
Oh,
and allow us to review everything and then make a determination at that time,
okay.
okay?
So what would the date be?
18th, February 18th.
That paper.
Was there anything else that needs to, be checked other than that?
No, those are items.
I want to make sure that we have everything that we need
So
to
if we
make
need
that
Yeah.
continuance worthwhile, that we can
Yeah.
close this out next
Is
time.
is it possible that we could have a order of conditions, almost signature ready at that night?
I will email them, or I'll have Gail email them any comments or items that they need to address.
Okay.
Right.
Based
And-
on your,
Based on review of the addendum that is submitted, that we got yesterday.
all right.
And then we should be able to email them on Monday. And if they address all that stuff,
Then we can
then I
draft the order
I
of
wouldn't have a
conditions.
problem providing you a draft
Yeah, okay.
order for you to look at.
And then we can actually sign it
Okay,
off next
yeah,
week.
yeah. I mean, the timing is obviously of the essence. with
But
these
if we have
ones.
all of that in place, then we
Yeah.
could certainly sign it off next week.
Anything we could do to expedite
Yep.
the process.
Is it an appeal period? How's that work?
Correct.
Yep, 20 days?
Because we have a local bylaw,
Yeah.
in reality, the State Wetlands Protection Act is 10 days, but that is under DEP policy, that is actually 10 business days.
Okay.
Not 10 calendar days, 10 business days from the date of issuance. Under the local bylaw, that is not appealable to the DEP. That goes to the Superior Court.
Right.
And the appeal period for that is 60 calendar days.
So essentially, it's a 10-day appeal period, 10 business days.
Under the State Woodlands Protection Act.
Right.
Under your bylaw, it's 60 calendar days, not 10. So you have two avenues for appeal. The Wetlands Protection Act and the local bylaw, you're right.
So does that mean the site work can't start until the 60 days, is that?
Yeah, you can start at your own peril. If somebody, you know.
It's
I
a
mean,
roll of the dice. You can start and,
But
you know.
for the most part, the 10 days is, which is, even though our local bylaw
Yeah,
is for
right,
60.
but that doesn't trump your local bylaw. though.
True.
Right,
Yeah.
you know? So you don't want to minimize the 60 days for the local bylaw and you don't want to lead them to the 10
Yeah.
days. Yeah.
Yeah.
The answer is,
60 days.
is right.
Because that's why we put in that bylaw in the first
Right.
place. So it would only be.
But in that appeal timeframe, if you want to take a roll of the dice, it's your dice to roll.
Right, right. I'm just thinking the time scheduling to this, to get the building up. And, you know, everybody will be real busy, you know, we're coming into that April, May,
Yeah.
real busy time, it'd be tough to pin someone down again.
Are you concerned that someone's going to appeal?
No, I'm just thinking about the time of starting, you know, what I said, so we don't roll the dice. You know.
So we'll give, if everything's fine, we'll give them the order on February 18th, and then they can go from there.
It's up to you, yeah, we'll be up to you at that point.
So there wouldn't be a permit issued until that's up, as in like a building permit?
Well, that's from the
That's-
building
yeah,
department.
That'd be,
Right,
yeah.
but does that have to be over, that appeal period has to be over before it's issued?
You have to record the order.
Right, so that means it would be.
Well, it'll be up to the building department.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, the building department can cut the permit when,
Yeah.
you know, after it's passed through us and the order conditions filed with the registry of deeds, the building department should be able to cut the permit right away. Like I said, it's a roll of the dice on you on the appeal period. You shouldn't, I don't think they'll wait to the end of the appeal period. They'll cut you the permit once you've squared away with all the other departments.
When will you release the order of conditions for us to record? After the 10 days?
No, we give you the order that night.
Oh, okay.
Sign it.
Next meeting, yeah.
No, I'm saying after you sign
After
it.
I sign it, I have to prepare it the next day, in order
Okay.
for you to get it. There's more
Okay.
work than just
Okay.
a signature. Usually it's the next day,
Okay.
Friday the latest.
Okay. Okay.
So they'd have it. They'd have it then. yeah.
So they got a
So
request.
it's a request, giving
You need to request the continuance, and then I need you to sign this.
From today's date, from 2/4/15 to 2/18, you said?
Yes.
Yeah.
2/18/15.
Do I have to be here for that? I actually plan on going on family vacation that night.
Is it somewhere warmer?
Enjoy your vacation.
Warmer than here?
Paul?
Hopefully,
No.
Can you do that?
Yes.
sure, yeah.
That's why you're paying him the big bucks.
Oh, 2/18.
Okay, why don't you,
I'll make a motion to continue the notice of intent for DEP file SE 269-0911, 252 Britton Street, map 4, parcel 11 and 12, Daniel DeRosa.
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you. See you in
Okay.
the, well, can you see you in the 18th?
Enjoy.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah.
Is there anything else?
Okay, notice of intent, Phase 6 Sewer Systems Expansion Contract Number 5, project on River Street and Riverbrook Drive.
Continue to time and date specific.
Do you have the tear sheets for Gail? Oh, she has them already?
I asked if anybody was here.
So you already continued it?
Yeah.
So you gotta tell him that.
Down and I'll give you the green cards that we've received.
Yeah, yeah.
We have the
Yes, we have
the sheets.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
Did you check the dates? Are we all set?
Yeah, it's 26th.
Can you
Upper right. Upper right.
You want my glasses?
Okay, pursuant to the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Town of Raynham Wetlands Protection Bylaw, the Raynham Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on a notice of intent filed by the Raynham Board of Sewer Commissioners for Phase 6, Contract Number 5 Sewer Expansion Project on River Street and Riverbrook Drive. The public meeting will be held on February 4th, 2015, at 5:30 p.m. at the Veterans Memorial Town Hall, 558 South Main Street. The filing is available for public review at the Raynham Conservation Office. Bill Reynolds, Chairman. So, you know what? Bill, do you want to? Oh, I was gonna say, just one, I can hop up and, rather than spread them all out.
State your name and affiliation, please.
Good evening. My name is Melissa Cody. I'm from Ty and Bond on behalf of the Raynham Board of Sewer Commissioners. Just to note, if there are also half-scale plans, if that's a little more manageable in the bound reports that we provided. As you explained, this is, oops. They're in Appendix A. Oh, no. The folded 11 by 17s are half scales of the plan sheets. Okay. All right. This is Contract 5 of Phase 6 of the town's sewer expansion project. Just to refresh everyone's memories, including my own. Contract 1 was completed. Contracts 2 and 3 are nearing completion. And Contract 4, which was permitted with Contract 3, is actually going to go out to bid with Contract 5. Otherwise, there are probably many more factors than I understand, but it would be very expensive, very difficult to manage. Breaking it up into geographic areas like this facilitates the construction and contract administration process. So the goal of the town is to get this work started in construction season 2015 and hopefully complete a significant portion of it. We originally submitted a design that included 2 geographic areas. The River Street, Riverbrook Drive area that's still before the commission, and the Suzanne Drive area off Church Street, off between Hill and Dean, I believe. That is no longer part of this application. What you have before you is revision B, is how we're referring to it, the notice of intent. We have, when we presented it, or prepared it to present to the commission, to help compare and contrast what was proposed versus what is proposed in text. We provided a revised version of WPA Form 3, and where a change was made, the original text was struck out with a single line strike, and the revised text was provided after it. Just otherwise it's kind of like looking for a needle in a haystack sometimes. So at the present time, the project consists of 1,865 linear feet of 4-inch diameter force main and 2,850 linear feet of 8-inch diameter gravity sewer in the river footprints of River Street and Riverbrook Drive. The project now also includes a single pump station on Riverbrook Drive. That pump station is in the buffer zone, but it's outside the 25-foot buffer zone. We're crossing two map streams. Whereas previously we were proposing an open trench crossing of Furnace Brook, we are no longer proposing an open trench crossing. we will be attaching it to the concrete head wall. So the pipe will be insulated and attached. There's kind of an existing shelf almost on the upstream face. So it will be above grade, obviously, but the shifts in design have meant that we can do that with the pipe as opposed to needing to maintain depths and slopes and open trenching in any wetland resource areas. So now the project actually does not have work in the overall project has been significantly reduced in its environmental impacts. The other stream that we're crossing is at the northerly end of Riverbrook Drive. It's a mapped intermittent stream. It has a watershed of 0.11 square miles, and we will be going beneath the existing culvert. So they'll trench up to the culvert within the roadway and trench or push the pipe under it and then continue on. That means I'll have to look at the profile. Okay, if you look at sheet 10 of 26, the culvert is roughly 1 inch equals 4 feet vertically, so it looks like it's about 2 to 3 feet below the bottom of the culvert, which is a corrugated metal pipe at that location.
So there'll be no need to stop that work while
No.
you...
Nope.
Okay.
All the pipe work, with the exception of the pipes leading into and out of the proposed pump station, which is also shown on sheet 10, will be in the footprint of paved roadways.
Of course, you haven't had a chance to look at this, have you?
Well, how do you propose to work under the river, crossing, where you crossing the,
Which, Furnace or the unnamed intermittent stream on Riverbrook Drive?
Cotton River?
We're not working,
You
that's
look-
contract 4, and that was previously permitted by the commission. So it's shown on that legend sheet because of their way they're going to put the project out to bid. But contract 4 was permitted with contract 3, which is why for my own benefit I included a summary. And that permit was, let's see, it was issued on September 17th, 2010, and qualifies for the Permit Extension Act of 2010 and 2012.
So that's 3 years for the extension.
Yeah.
So-
So then yeah, I understand for your own purposes, then what you probably should do for us is on that our fee 6, on the our overall sheet, the key plan. Actually, either call out the area that you're doing the present proposal.
What we do have, and this may help, and if we need to take a different approach, suggestions will be appreciated. On the sheet index, on the sheet, we actually have, it's a list of sheets for a full set of plans, with the note that striking through the text and the sheets that are not pertinent to the current notice of intent. So the index sheet, rather than have a completely separate set of drawings when the project goes out to contract, this legend is what the contractor will see without the strike-throughs, because the contractor will have both permits. But for the commission, we didn't want to have different sheet numbers that didn't correspond to the set of drawings that goes out to bid. And so to maintain that sheet numbering, we took this approach where sheets 1 through 3 are pertinent to the notice of intent because it's the cover, the sheet index, and the legend. Sheets 4 through 6 pertain to work on Church Street, which is contract 4. We've struck that out, and we have a footnote to that effect, including the DEP file number. And then, there's a pump station proposed on Church Street as well that was part of contract 4. Again, the same approach was applied through the list of sheets. In the event that there's a condition or a reference to an activity on a certain sheet number, we didn't want there to be notice of intent sheet number X and contract sheet number Y.
So how then do you propose? Because you're saying here that these are for permit and not for construction. So that means you're gonna generate another set of drawings for construction.
There's usually more detailed notes, but we would be open to a condition where prior to anything commencing, the commission received the contract drawings. The contract drawings won't be set until the project's ready to go out to bid, and the project's not ready to go out to bid.
But the commission is writing an order of conditions based on plans that will follow.
But we're not going to see.
Right, so you're asking for conditions, order of conditions for work yet to be properly defined.
Well, the work has been defined. The more detailed level of information that gets added to contract drawings isn't typically pertinent to the interest of the act and just adds a lot of text. But if you would like to see contract drawings, we could easily provide contract drawings. The alignment will remain the same, the footprint of work will remain the same, pipe depths will remain the same. As will erosion and sedimentation controls as they're shown on the project plan sheets.
Now, did you guys look at any of the actual septic systems for some of these houses that are being tied in?
That I don't know.
So then how do you guys establish how deep you need it to go?
It's because it's based on average rates of flow per number of bedrooms, the pump station pumping rates, and then the slope of the pipe. The sewer has nothing to do with the septic system because the tie-ins will be from the
right,
house.
but the depth of excavation, which will be, in other words, you are showing a profile of some gravity locations where they're gonna tie in. So if you did not locate, I'm not talking about the quantity of flows or the sizing of the pipes, that's not the question. The question is establishing the depth of your lines for where you're gonna be connecting, because is there a possibility of eliminating some of these pump stations so that we having less work in the wetlands area? I mean, how did we arrive at these being the best location, depth and
I see.
amount of excavation? You know what I'm saying?
Right. And,
For us to know that care has been exercised to minimize impact
Sure.
on the wetlands.
The town's, one of the town's concerns and interest, and it's always a concern with any project, municipal or otherwise, is taking the most economical, efficient approach that solves the problem. And so the pump station shifted location to accommodate the changes in design. We were only proposing one pump station, so not being an engineer, I can't speak to how they arrived at that exactly, but I don't, and that's probably why I don't understand, I'm having trouble understanding why the depth of the existing septic system has to do with the tie-in to the residence. They're not tying into the septic system, they're tying into the residence, the house.
But as you said, you're not an engineer.
Right.
And I actually want to report to that real quick before we go any further. Who is the engineer that drew up these plans?
Well, tie and bond, the project manager is Dan Holmes.
But who's the engineer that stamped each page of these plans? Because I only see one stamp on page one, with one engineer that's taken ownership for the cover page.
That's Todd Brown.
Yeah, and so he owns the cover page, that's his baby. But who owns all the rest of these pages?
Typically, this is the approach we've taken with permitting similar projects, but if the commission would like a set of drawings with stamps on each page, we can certainly provide that.
Well, no, but then your engineer's practicing inconsistent with the law that says they need to be practicing on the 250 CMR. So you're giving us plans that we don't know who's responsible. Every sheet shall be, not maybe. Stamping a cover sheet is not adequate. It
Okay.
clearly says that.
250
So,
CMR, what's the last
250
part?
CMR,
What chapter?
250 CMR.
The whole thing?
Yeah,
Okay.
right through was, section 2 through 6. Okay, that's, and when they apply for their registration, they're certifying that they've read 250 CMR.
Okay. I
And
will
it says you
certainly-
got a stamp. So them defining the approach that you take to all the projects, it's irrelevant.
With the scope of work.
And the other thing too then is, you tell us that you're not the engineer, but then if we have engineering questions, you can answer them.
Well, I can certainly do my best to relay the questions back to the engineers, and we can provide responses.
My concern is that this is a municipal project,
Yeah?
and we owe it to the people of this town that are going to be affected by this, the best possible that they're going to be paying for it in the long run. So if there's a number that's wrong and something goes haywire, something goes crazy because some stats were wrong, then we need to know on that page why those stats were wrong and who signed off on it. And as of right now, there's no ownership. So if something went horribly wrong, we have no ownership, and you could go back to Mr. Brown, he'd be like, I didn't stamp that page.
Yeah.
I got nothing to do with it. So a project of this magnitude, with this price tag, we need somebody, an engineer that has reviewed everything, to take ownership of every single page and not be concerned that, hey, I'm going to have an issue, I don't want to sign it because, I'm not confident in my work.
No,
You know,
if
there's an issue on the cover page,
Concern.
if there's an issue on the cover page on the scale, then hey, we'll go talk to Mr. Brown because he signed off on this cover page. That's the only one he signed off on.
But the cover, with all due respect, Mr. Chairman, right? The cover page, it's not even a design plan.
Right.
So that doesn't even.
If there's a typo on the cover page, I can talk to Mr. Brown.
Doesn't go us any, this is,
Respectfully, can
You
we,
know?
I guess, I would like
Yeah.
to do as much with the commission tonight as possible. The contract drawings that go out to bid do have stamps on each page. Again, this is, if there's any change. Understood, that's been made very clear, thank you. Does the commission have any concerns relative to wetland resource areas that I could address, since I'm a wetland and rare species specialist? With regard to rare species, we are still working within mapped habitat, natural heritage, eastern box turtle mapped habitat.
You haven't heard from
We
them?
have heard back from them on the revisions. We heard by email. Gail, if you don't have a copy of it, I'll here for everyone, or at least for the file. Emily Holt reviewed and concurs that now that the work is entirely within mapped habitat, is entirely within the footprint of the existing paved roadway, the activities are exempt from the Massachusetts Endangered Species Act. So we have a natural heritage tracking number
Okay.
from the original CWMP and the MIPA process for this overall project in town. And now we have a project that is exempt from natural heritage under the Endangered Species Act, 310 CMR. So in that sense, we don't have to implement the turtle protection plan for that work, which is beneficial overall to everyone, I think, including the turtles.
Okay. File that.
yeah, that's fine, because we're not really debating
No, we're
the location of the resources. We accepted that, and so that what you're looking at now isn't so much establishment of the resources or their boundaries. What you're looking at, and your job as commissioners is to receive testimony from them and evaluate their project to make sure now that the impact on the resources is minimal. That's, yeah. So you're not debating about the delineation or acceptance of the resource mapping.
So, with regard to potential impacts to areas subject to the Commission's jurisdiction, we've included erosion and sedimentation controls when we're in buffer zone, state, local buffer zones. At the location of the proposed pump station, which we have kept out of the 25-foot no disturb zone that's been established at the town level, we've got an erosion and sedimentation control barrier that includes an entrenched silt fence in addition to the proposed straw wattles.
Saw that.
As well. And then typical catch basin inlet protection, silt sacks, dandy bags, something of that nature, where catch basins are present along the project route.
Okay. I need more time to look at all of this.
Right, because I'm going through this here. They show you a typical detail, for example. They show you a detail for on sheet number 24. They show you locations of, detail for the dewatering basin. But I'm looking at these plans, they have not shown, if you will, the location, the proposed locations of those dewatering basins.
Okay.
That is going to depend on site conditions. If they do this work, if they get to a location in the middle of the summer and groundwater levels are depressed and there's no need to dewater the trench, then they won't need to dewater. That's typically, and I understand the Commission's...
But if you're going to dewater, you have to tell us where you're going to.
Sure, and the approach, and my understanding is consistent with the way we've permitted the other contracts up to this point, but I can relay that we need to identify potential dewatering locations.
Yep.
All right, and if you're not able to backfill,
They'll plate.
where will be locations of stockpiling of material? You know, the sand bedding, the stone bedding, where are they gonna stockpile, store those materials prior to use? Yeah.
Anything else that needs to, so we can
So we,
continue this?
it's gotta be continued. I mean, they're not going out to start construction tomorrow. We need to look at it some more and then identify whatever issues, additional issues, but those are the ones that are glaring.
Okay.
Okay. So do we need to request a continuation?
Yes, you do.
Does that happen? Okay.
Do we need to hear from the audience?
Yeah,
Are
absolutely.
you here for the sewer project, sir?
Any questions?
Any questions on the sewer project? Are you here for what project, sir? Okay.
All right, and she requested a continuation.
Yeah.
Check them out.
Can you get all this squared away by the next meeting?
Do my best. The 18th?
Okay, so,
So Monday too, along with the other one, we'll.
As long as we don't have any more snow.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
yeah, it's supposed to be crazy on Monday.
Yeah.
Now, Azu, when do you need the revisions by, so you have enough time to review?
Well, that's going to be the,
Well, he's got enough here to review.
Yeah, there's more, they're already here.
There'll be more.
There'll be more
There'll be more
comments.
stuff.
Yeah. So let me come here on the 18th and need to continue.
This isn't a small project.
No.
how long in just out of curiosity, how far in advance would materials need to be provided for adequate review prior to the 18th?
It's at least a week.
yeah, definitely.
And that's February 18th, 2015.
Usually we do 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So, yeah. you
We're
know,
starting to
this-
show for the 7 o'clock meeting.
Yeah, this is what this is all for.
So we need to wrap this up because we have to get out of here. That's another meeting.
I'm not even paying attention to it, so I'm not apologizing if I missed it.
All right, why don't we have a motion to continue?
I'll make a motion that we continue, give a notice of intent, Phase 6 sewer system expansion, contract 5, project on River Street and Riverbrook Drive to February 18th.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you.
Another motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you.
Oh, Gail.